Thank you, Laskin Corla. On May the 18th, I had this down as a topical issue for this. This is simply the delay in ensuring that ambulance cover in West Roscommon, East Mayo is addressed. The HSC has simply not delivered on ensuring that this ambulance black spot is sorted out. And the OPW agreed a 5-year lease with the National Ambulance Service to use the former Garda station in Loughglynn as a regional ambulance base. And a year and a half ago, Roscommon County Council gave planning permission to develop an ambulance base there. However, it seems that there has been very, very little progress on the project since then. And what is most disappointing is that the HSC timelines for the operation start of the base was last summer. In correspondence with the Minister of Health, James Riley, I highlighted the situation regarding the ambulance service in Roscommon. In my correspondence, I made it clear the importance of ensuring there are sufficient levels of ambulance cover being provided across the county. This ambulance base in Loughglynn is a vital facility for communities in West Roscommon and East Mayo, and it will significantly help to improve emergency response time in areas heretofore were ambulance black spots. I am now saying publicly that the need to progress the ambulance base in Loughglynn and address the issues around the whole ambulance service in the county must be an absolute priority for all stakeholders. And as you know, so much work has been done in Roscommon Hospital. We have 20 million of an investment programme going into the county. We have an air ambulance in the area which has saved lives and has been in operation for the last 2 years. Minister, I know there's things you can do and things you can't do. What I'm hearing from the ambulance service that this is a HR situation. These are situations that have been dealt with under the Haddington Road Agreement. And I'm saying now that people blame politicians for what happens, but I'm asking the ambulance service now to address this situation immediately, because lives will be lost if this situation, which was agreed in the Haddington Road Agreement, is not brought to a head sooner than later. And I'm sick and tired of politicians making a political football out of this and playing with people's lives. I am asking the people out there to do what they said they would do in the Haddington Road Agreement. And I'm asking the ambulance service, I'm asking you, Minister, to intervene to ensure that whoever signed up to the Haddington Road Agreement, what exactly they would do, that they will do now, because I'm afraid that lives are at stake. This was never meant to be an ambulance base as such. It was meant to be a facility where the ambulance drivers from Roscommon or Boyle or wherever would go and address an ambulance black spot. And once again, I state again, this has been agreed in back doors and back rooms, which I had no say in, which probably you had no say in, but was agreed in the Haddington Road Agreement where all the stakeholders were there. And I'm asking the people out there, please live up to your obligations. Please do not use this as political football, and please do not put the blame back on the politicians, because you have a responsibility for the lives of the people in West Roscommon and East Mayo.
Minister, 4 minutes.
Thanks very much. I want to thank Deputy Fian once again for raising this very important issue in the House, and I'm pleased to outline the current developments in relation to the Loughglynn ambulance station. First of all, I should explain that the National Ambulance Service is changing and modernising its model of service delivery. It's no longer considered appropriate for an ambulance station to provide services only for its local area. For this reason, the National Ambulance Service is moving to dynamic deployment, where all resources in a region are deployed across that region as a fleet. Moving to dynamic deployment was a specific recommendation of the HICMA report into ambulance services that was published last year. Within the wider Western region, the Roscommon area is supported by dynamic deployment from the north by Boyle and Carrigan-Shannon, from the east by Longford and Mullingar, and from the south by Athlone. New 24/7 capacity in Tuam and Mulranny stations is enhancing coverage across North Galway, West Roscommon and Mayo. Also in support of dynamic deployment, Loughglynn is being developed as a base where ambulances can be located during shifts. The base will provide facilities for staff and clinical storage. The Deputy will be pleased to know that the refurbishment of the ambulance station is now complete, and indeed has been for some time. But discussions are still ongoing with staff representative bodies about the number of staffing issues arising from the move to dynamic deployment in the region. The NAS expects that the Loughglynn station will be operational following the resolution of these issues. The National Ambulance Service is working to ensure high quality and timely emergency pre-hospital care using all available resources as effectively and as efficiently as possible. As for any modern health service, development and modernisation never ceases as technology and clinical standards change and evolve. A significant and ongoing reform programme has been underway in recent years, and in 2015 an additional £5.4 million has been provided to improve technology and clinical audit and to address some service gaps in ambulance services, particularly in the West. A single national control system, which is now almost fully operational, is improving our control and dispatch performance. The intermediate care service transports patients between facilities and allows emergency vehicles and crews to focus on emergency calls only. The ICS now carries over 80% of non-emergency workloads. We're also moving to a more efficient on-duty rostering system and developing a national roster. 50 additional paramedics are being allocated in the West this year under this process. Services in Roscommon have been improved since 2011, and Roscommon Town has 3 emergency ambulances during the day and 2 at night, as well as a 24/7 rapid response vehicle, which is crewed by an advanced paramedic who can get there ahead of the ambulance and begin treatment on the scene. For Roscommon and the surrounding region, we also have the Emergency Air Medical Support Service based in Loughglynn, which Minister Covey and I confirmed will now be extended. The EIS takes very seriously ill or injured patients swiftly to the most appropriate hospital for their needs. Over 1,000 missions have been completed since its inception in June 2012, and counties Roscommon and Mayo have among the highest demand for EAS services. These are all significant improvements. However, we need to further improve the service, and the NAS expects to receive the independent capacity review very shortly, and this will help to determine current and future service needs. Areas being examined also include staff numbers and skill mix, as well as resources and deployment locations. I'm confident these reforms will contribute to the ongoing improvements in our pre-hospital emergency care services to the benefit of the people of Roscommon and the rest of the country.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy Phelan, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Minister. Well, first of all, I do welcome the fact that the NAS expects that the Loughglynn ambulance station will be operational following the resolution of these issues. It was stated on local radio by other politicians that this ambulance base would never open. Now, why are people making those statements? And I know the elephant in the room from talking to National Ambulance Service is the fact that people who signed up, who work for the ambulance service, who signed up under the Haddington Road Agreement, are still refusing to go out and man this station. And I think as a politician, and a national politician, it's my right to come into this House and state when something is wrong. Because I have kept silent for far, far too long. And my worry is that lives will be put at risk if this ambulance base isn't open soon. And I really appreciate, Minister, that you're doing everything possible, and I appreciate other people doing everything possible. But I'm asking the people who signed this Haddington Road Agreement to stand up to the plate and deliver what you agreed. Because if lives are lost, this politician here will not be taking responsibility. The responsibility will be back onto those ambulance personnel who signed up to an agreement of which they're obliged to carry out. So this has gone on for far, far too long. It's been political football for far too long. And I am absolutely convinced that when this ambulance base opens up in West Roscommon, in Loughglynn, where it was an ambulance black spot, once again, patients in that area will have a quicker ambulance response time and actually will get to the provision of care that they deserve. But I want to pay tribute again to the ambulance service personnel and the work that they're doing on the ground. The paramedics and advanced paramedics, along with the aero service. They have saved dozens of lives in my county since Roscommon A&E was downgraded. And I'm absolutely delighted that that has happened.
Minister, 2 minutes.
I know the Deputy has an enormous interest in this topic, and we've discussed it here in the House before, and he's raised it with me personally on a number of occasions. I can see his passion about it from his speech today. Certainly from a political point of view, I'm very keen to have this opened as soon as possible. I think the delay that has occurred to date really is unacceptable. It is unfortunately a common feature of our health service that we will often see staff interests on the television or on the radio advocating on behalf of patients, only to appear in rooms and offices a day or two later, delaying the opening of new wards, whole mental hospital in Cork and other facilities on the basis of staffing issues and industrial relations issues that should have been solved long before these facilities were built or completed. And this is a recurring theme. I've seen it happen for decades in our health service, where we have new facilities that need to be opened in the interests of patients but can't be because of staffing issues or industrial relations issues that should have been resolved at an earlier stage. And it's disappointing to see patients used as pawns by any side, whether it's management or unions, in such situations. But we do, of course, have mechanisms. We have the LRC and we have the Labour Court, and if needs be, an intervention can occur there, and I would encourage people to agree to be bound by whatever recommendations come out of that body.